Hello, I'm Una. You're very welcome to my channel. Inspired by Laura Basson, I've been experimenting a lot recently with shape and colour and pattern. And for today's video, I produced two different sorts of cards with tiny squares and with triangles. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to watch some more videos of mine on shape and colour and pattern, I'll link to them in the top corner. This XCut punch is the one I used to produce the 1/4 inch squares. And you can see I have all my colours lined up here, and I need 3 more blues, and I'll show you how the punch works. Very simply, just like that. Very simple and very easy to produce. And I suffer from erosive osteoarthritis in my right hand, and this punch didn't hurt at all. And to make the 3rd shade of blue, I didn't have a dark blue, so I used my True Blue 9 from the Spectrum Noir range. So then I cut out of Nina 110-pound card, I cut the shape of my A6 card base. Now, you do need a good tweezers for this job, but you do not need liquid glue, and you do not need those little containers. Those were a real pain in the neck, and I got rid of them very soon after I started. In fact, I was only 5 tiles in when I scraped off the liquid glue. It was drying faster than I could get the tiles down. And I put my pieces out on the table before I tried to put them on. Picking them out of the containers was a nuisance. And you'll see in just a moment. And I left this bit in because I wanted to show that if I put down the wrong colour, I was easily able to swap it up for the right one. That happened only a couple of times, but it wasn't a problem. Now, this is how I should have set myself up. All the colours laid out on the table in order, and when I did this, the job was done in jiffy quick time. This didn't take long at all, and I found it very satisfying, very therapeutic. And as the colour built up, it was really gorgeous. I wanted to show you when my tape runner goes wonky. I snip it, and I actually find it a lot easier to use like this. I pull out the length of tape that I need and lay it down in the position that I wanted. And then when I'm at the end, I press it with my finger and then pull it back on itself and remove the backing tape, snip it off and bin it, and no problem. So the piece was finished, and then I burnished it well with my bone folder. Isn't that looking gorgeous? I was delighted with it. Then I trimmed off the piece and got my card base, and it fitted perfectly, but I didn't like it. It needed a white border to really set it off, so I decided to turn this into a square card panel. So counting the squares carefully, I snipped it off and then set that piece, the smaller piece, aside to use later, and I'll show you what I did with it. But back to the square. I decided the sentiment I'd use was a love sentiment that came with my Gemini Junior. It was part of the bundle. And to create a shadow for it, I love shadow word dies, but I didn't have a shadow for this one, but it's very easy to create your own. So cut it out in reverse and then flip it over, and you don't see the pencil marks. Then I was able to just trim it off perfectly, and a lovely shadow backdrop for the word love. And I didn't end up using this sending, that just happened to be lying on my desk. For the smaller panel, I decided to cover it with Nuvo crystal glaze. That's like Ranger glossy accents, but I find the crystal glaze is easier to apply. So I just left that to dry. These triangles I cut on the edge of my guillotine. They started as squares that I made out of a window die, and I used lots of different coloured cardstocks to produce them, and I'll link to a video where I use that die. I cut out a panel with my Waffle Flower A7 dies, and I embossed it with a 3D folder of clouds. I thought that was a pretty backdrop for what I was intending to look like stylized flowers. Now, when I stood back and looked at it when I was finished, I thought, they're more like toy windmills that we used to play with as children. I cut some stems from green cardstock and picked up the flowers with little bits of press and seal. The sentiment is from this Hero Arts set that I have forever in my stash, and I decided to use Find Joy Every Day, and I white heat embossed it on regular black cardstock. I use white, Stampendous white embossing powder. That's a nice bright white. And then I used one of the small dies from the Waffle Flower A7 set to cut out that sentiment. I'll put on some music for a few moments while I'm assembling this. I decided it would look nice with a frame, so I used 2 of my Waffle Flower dies to do that. I taped down the larger one first and then insert the smaller one and tape them together. That's a much easier way to use these dies than fiddling around with them both together. And I like using a frame instead of matting the piece because it saves all the piece that you cut out of the centre. And it looks very nice. There's a lovely finished look to it. Now, this I wish I hadn't done, but I wonder what you think. I decided to clear heat emboss it. So I applied lots and lots of layers of clear embossing powder. I smooshed on the Versamark, then poured on the embossing powder and heat set it. And as I said, I did this over and over again. And it got darker and darker as I did this, and glossier. But I sort of wished I had my bare panel back again. It wasn't as nice as I thought it would be, but perhaps you would have a different opinion. I black embossed with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I heat embossed Ascending You from my favourite things set. Now, to apply this to the card, because it's so thick with all the layers of embossing, I used industrial strength double-sided tape. Believe me, this is really, really strong. That panel isn't coming up anytime soon. So I apply my sentiments. And then I put blocks on that until because it needed a bit of straightening out, and it was perfect in the end. So I was so sorry that I had heat embossed that one. I decided I'd make another one without the heat embossing. I'm sending out a lot of cards at the moment, so I did need another one, and just embellished that one with some little gemstones from Lucy's Little Things from Lucy. I list my supplies down below. And this is how I made up the card with the Nuvo Crystal Glaze panel. I created a circle with an inlaid love. And this is the heat embossed one. And the one without the heat embossing. And the windmill card I think is really pretty. And I had added Nuvo shimmer to the petals at this stage. That's today's video. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and you might like to watch some more videos. If you give this video a thumbs up, I would be absolutely thrilled. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to talk to you. Bye for now. All the best, and do take great care.